Hey everyone, welcome to Ahead of the Lane. What happened against Arsenal? Like, seriously, someone explain to me what happened against Arsenal because I watched the worst 95 minutes of my life. As a Spurs fan, I've never seen a match as bad as this one. And what makes it worse was that it was a North London derby. I am out of words. You know? Actually, no. How could I be out of words if I'm gonna make a whole podcast, a whole episode about it? Forget that. Um, but no, seriously though, seriously, what happened? What was going on? I just keep trying to understand or trying to rationalize or give myself explanations other than the coach, the manager misread the whole game, mismanaged the whole game. He was disastrous from the beginning to the end. He was outcoached. That that's the only thing that I could come up with. I tried to think of many things. I tried to understand something, but my mind always goes to the same conclusion. We're not being managed to the best of our abilities. So it begs the question, to me, to you, the viewers, what do you think went wrong? What do you think happened? And do you think this score against Arsenal is just a one-off thing? Do you really think it's a one-off thing? Stay tuned. I think you're honestly gonna enjoy what I have to say. I think you guys are gonna come into understanding. I think we guys are all gonna come into an agreement for once about what's going on. It doesn't matter what you think of the manager. We're talking about the club right now because that's the essence of it all. The club. So whether you like Jose, whether you don't like Jose, whether you're skeptical, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna have a good discussion about this. No, let's seriously analyze the game and the management and what really went wrong with the performance tonight. So you could say the performance was one way in the beginning of the match, and then when Lamela was substituted, we played a different style, and then when he got sent off, we also played a completely third different style, which is confusing because as much as I enjoy that we have a lot of solutions, there were the wrong solutions. There were three wrong solutions, you know, and I expected more from Mourinho. Mourinho is known to be a serial winner who knows how to win games no matter what, and a master tactician, but he's being outcoached by a former Manchester City assistant. It's this man's first managerial job, and he gets to outperform Mourinho. And you beg to question what is Mourinho doing? What in the modern game is Mourinho capable of providing that other managers couldn't if they took the Spurs job? But like I said, this is not, a an episode to attack him. It's just an episode for us to understand what the hell's going on, because we can't keep going on and on and on and fighting and arguing and disagreeing and being oblivious to the obvious fact that this wasn't the player's fault, because it's obvious. You cannot be this lost as a player in the field if the instructions you were given were not clear enough, if the instructions you're given aren't working. Just put yourself in their shoes. I'm saying, like, I'm not a professional. Obviously, none of us are professionals or watching. But put yourself in the shoes of any player, and you're given an instruction that you know doesn't work. You're given an instruction that you know it hasn't been working for a long time. And since the beginning of the season, we've been seeing the same mistakes. We've been seeing the same instructions. We've been seeing the same style. We've been seeing the same results. And nothing is working. So you beg to question, is it really Mourinho? Or he just believes in his tactic too much and it just doesn't work. But he still believes in it, and it's just stubbornness at this point. You know, we said in the beginning of the season, let him play, let him work, let him have his time to explore the players, to experiment with different formations, to find the right balance. And then in the middle of the season, we say, oh, he wasn't backed enough. Where are the players that he asked for? Where's Bruno? Where's Diaz? Where's this? Where's that? You're like, fine, you know, rational excuse. But then even Arsenal, you know, they were 10th just before the match began. They were 10th in the league, and we were above them. And Mourinho said in the same press conference right before the game, what did he say? He said that he doesn't look at Arsenal. He doesn't look at teams below him. He only looks at teams above him, you know? And he lost. So it begs the question, what's happening? Because the Arsenal game is not a one off mistake. Fine, you could be like, Jose was wrong in the Arsenal game. Fine, I blame Jose in the Arsenal game. But what about all the other games since December? We have not beaten a team that is ranked in the 10th position and above in the league. We couldn't beat a top 10 team. We couldn't beat any of the top 10 teams, this season since December. So begs the question, it doesn't work once. It doesn't work twice. It doesn't work 3 times. It doesn't work 10 times. How much can you blame with the players? Considering that the same players that underperform in those matches are the same players that keep starting. Okay? How many games did we see Dyer start? Okay, and how many games has Dyer single handedly threw out the window? How many games did he throw out of the window? Fine, he doesn't play. How many games does Doherty throw out of the window? Fine, you say Aurier plays. How many times has Gareth Bale blanked? How many times have you played Son and Kane until they were repeatedly injured? Son, in the same Arsenal match that we all saw, was limping. It wasn't a bone issue, it was a muscle issue. Why did he have a muscle issue? Because he was overworked. Because he played against, farmer teams, against silly teams that he shouldn't have played, and he played 90 minutes of many of them. And now he's overworked and he's injured. Kane is the same thing. Kane is a ticking time bomb, by the way. He just got a knock against Dynamo Zagreb in the Europa League. Plays 82 minutes against Dynamo Zagreb when he should have gone much earlier. Scored 2 goals. We had a 2-goal lead. We have a clean sheet at home. Should have been taken off. Carlos Vinicius is more than capable. He is the Europa League's top goal scorer. He's more than capable of filling 30 minutes, 40 minutes of Dynamo Zagreb. I think he's capable of that. And even if he didn't, we were 2-0 ahead. We didn't need to score more. We just need to solidify our defenses. So the main priority, if Mourinho had the brains to play, was so the main point was that we did not need to score more. We did not need to attack. Kane did the job. We should have wrapped it up. Throw in Vinicius. That's it. That's it. He should have parked the bus when he should have parked the bus, but he doesn't. He parks the bus when he shouldn't have parked the bus. So Son gets injured. Amazing substitution. Lamela, obviously, when Lamela shows the levels. Lamela is the only player, despite being slandered way too much of our fans keep slandering Lamela. Way too much of our fans keep mocking him. Way too much of our fans don't give him the enough respect that he deserves. And he shows them that he's the only player who has any passion, who understands what the derby is. He's the only player that scored in the game. He's the only player that had a shot on target for 75 minutes. Yes, ever since he came on until he was sent off, he was the only player that had a shot on target. Kane didn't have a shot on target. Bale didn't have a shot on target. And Dombele didn't have a shot on target. No one had. Not even Lucas. Lucas played well, but he didn't have a shot on target. What? By the way, that wasn't slander towards Bale or Kane or anything. I'm just showing you that you guys are disrespecting Lamela way too much. You guys are disrespecting him way too much. Okay, he got sent off. Obviously, it was a mistake. I'm not gonna say Lamela did a good job. He just scored an amazing goal. No one deserves to get praised in that game. No one, even if they did a good job, they don't deserve the praise because when has Spurs become a club of incompetence, a club that accepts mediocrity and compliments their own players when we lose? We've never been that club. We aim high and we play good football. That's all we've been known for, and that's all we should be known for the rest of the time. We should stick to our roots. And the problem here is that Jose is the blame for that match only. You might say Doherty. You might say, yes, Doherty performed bad, and obviously no one's going to disagree with you. No one on the face of the earth is going to tell you that Doherty is not wrong. But what's wrong was playing Doherty when Aurier was available. Some people can bring up the point that yes, Aurier played midweek against Dynamo, he played 90 minutes. But then there's Tanganga, and the last time Tanganga played as right back, he bossed. He played and performed really well. So what is the excuse of playing someone like Doherty in an important derby? I mean, for God's sakes, he's an Arsenal fan. Like how more obvious can this get? You know, we let an Arsenal fan bring us down and cost us the game. The first goal was on him, and the penalty was on him and Sanchez. Even though Sanchez made the best match, one of the best performances. He's been performing really well lately. And even in that Arsenal game, he was doing really well. But he had to do what he had to do. Lacazette was in Doherty's zone, in the zone that Doherty should have protected. Davinson was in another different zone with no other player. Lacazette went past Doherty, and Sanchez was too far to make a good tackle. And he had to. He had to do that. I'm not defending Sanchez, but he had to do what he had to do. Okay? People criticized Lamela. They were like, he was silly. He shouldn't have done this. When he got sent off, that's when the game was thrown away. No. When he came on, the team had a different energy because Lamela was the only one running after the ball. He was the only one tackling. He was the only one doing something. Okay? And in the end of the game, they decided to play expansive football. You're like, oh, but look, we played well without Lamela. When he got sent off, we played good football. Yes, because, Arsenal secured the bag. Arsenal done what they had to do. Bang, bang, 2 goals, and that's it. Park the bus. They parked it. They left us so much space to attack, and we couldn't exploit it. So again, it's just me going in circles again, saying the same things I've said since episode number 1. Just literally, just open up episode number 1. Watch episode number 1. I said the exact same things I'm saying right now. Hasn't changed. Hasn't changed since November, December. Hasn't changed. So who do you blame? Obviously, the main culprit, Jose, and then the incompetent players, because it's not just Jose's fault. As much as I am, clear in my position, I believe that Jose is not fit to manage our club, but he's not wrong. He's only wrong for picking those incompetent players, but we do have incompetent players, and we cannot deny that. We have Dyer, we have Doherty, we have Davies. Yes, they throw in, once or twice the occasional good, solid performance, but the consistency isn't just there. All these haters, all these haters that are saying Lamela should have been in the list of incompetent players, I'm sorry, he's not, and he won't ever be. When you have the only player who's able to press against a 10th ranked team in the Premier League, no, he's good. When he presses more than Bale and Kane, and that's no slander towards either players, much respect to them, he's not incompetent. When he's the one who scores, and our front three of Son, Bale, and Kane couldn't score against Arsenal, the team that's, according to Jose, below us and he doesn't look to, no, Lamela is solid. Lucas is solid. He's improved massively. I've been one of the biggest critics of Lucas, but I have to admit that I was wrong about Lucas. For what he lacks in good decision making, he compensates it with determination, and effort. He doesn't stop running. He runs until he's off the pitch. And when you watch the match, and when you sit down, it feels like a chore. It feels like a chore. This club isn't what it used to be. We're all of us, we're all numb. We're numb. We feel nothing when we watch the game. There's so much apathy when they score. Like, it's hard. It's hard to be excited. It's hard to put yourself through these matches again and again and again and again and again. Okay? You blame our board. You blame our players. You blame the individual mistakes. You blame whoever you want to blame. You could blame the kit man for making these kits look ugly and the players feel ugly because they wear ugly kits. You can blame the weather for not being too sunny. You could blame the pitch for having short grass. You could blame anything you want to blame. In the end of the day, it's going to be more obvious. It's inevitable at this point. It's really inevitable. And you open your social media, and every single day, more and more people are becoming more skeptic of Jose. I'm not saying they're outright Jose out. I'm saying they're Jose skeptical. And it's growing, and it's growing, and it's growing. And they're not reactionary. They're not flip flops. And you accusing them of such is just your own coping mechanism towards what's inevitably the truth. Is that Jose is driving this team to the ground. The style we play in is awful. We play like a relegation side. Fulham plays better than us. Leeds play better than us, and they're recently promoted. We play like a relegation side. We are not good enough. We don't win convincingly. The Fulham game, they they played really well. We were very lucky to win against Fulham. Like, no amount of teams we beat that are like Burnley and Fulham and Dinamo Zagreb and Wolfsberger is ever going to convince me that we were ever good and we're just going through a rough patch. This isn't a rough patch. Just like, I'm sorry, I'm the one who bursted your bubble and you're taking your anger out on me, but the truth has to be said. This 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 thing we're going through, this Jose tenure, it's not good. It's not good. He's not gonna bring it back. This Fugazi winning, series we had with Burnley and Wolfsberger and Fulham and West Brom and all those relegation side teams, those bottom side teams, isn't gonna delude me from the inevitable truth. Is that against a proper side, we will always struggle because we cannot clinch 1-2 passes and build up a successful attack. The last time I've seen a proper build up against a proper team was against Manchester City when we beat them 2-0 and Harry Kane scored that goal and it was offside either way. So even our most successful build up was not only too long ago but also an offside goal. It wasn't a legit goal. And that's the only thing I'll ever see close to a proper build up against a proper team. No amount of stat padding against tiny clubs, against part-time farmers, against Marine, against Wycombe, against all these teams, against Stoke City in the semi-finals, is gonna delude me from the actual truth. Okay, we're gonna hit a wall soon. I'm telling you, I'm warning you right now. We're gonna hit a massive roadblock, and it's gonna flip us. Okay, like this Josie at the wheel thing, bro. He's a drunk driver. Get him out. Get him out. Like, watching us is a chore. Every time I sit down and I watch us play, I ask myself, like, how long should I tolerate from whatever I'm seeing? How much longer should I go on? You know, it's gone to the point where I'm more attached to our youth side than our first team. I'm more happy. I celebrate way louder, way enthusiastically when I see Dane Scarlett assist Carlos Vinicius in the Europa League than when Kane scores 10, 20 goals this season. It's gone to this point where Son scoring is going to make me as happy as seeing Skip, who's on loan to Norwich, by the way, performing really well and assisting and scoring. It's gone this far. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about many, many, many other people who share the same sentiments I do, and they're sick and they're tired. They're really tired. That's not the Spurs they grew up watching. That's not the Spurs that their parents told them about. That's not the Spurs that they've been seeing the last 5, 6 years. This is not the brand that we, you know, try to show the world. That's not the style we aspire to be. This is not the club that we say that is the pride of London. This is not the club that we say that is the best club in North London. It's a goddamn derby, and we have no player but Lamela and Lucas who are passionate enough to do something about it. I'm sounding like this Chelsea guy who's just saying there's no passion, there's no vision, there's no mentality, because it's true. It's true. It's true. There's nothing. We're gonna hit the wall. I'm just saying we are gonna hit the wall soon. Okay, I could show you and explain to you for the longest hours on tactics and how Jose's tactically wrong and Jose's lineups are wrong, and you guys could come back at me and tell me you're just some kid in front of a camera who's just saying things. There's a reason why you're behind the camera and just talking instead of doing something, and I could agree with you. But that's just coping mechanism. You're all coping. You're all trying to cover up for this massive failure that we're seeing. You're all covering it up, and for what? I just want to understand one thing. Why are you guys covering up for incompetence, for mediocrity, for performances that are not good enough? You want to say we're top 4, you want to say we're a top 6 club? We're not showing it. We're not showing it. I don't know if it's the players, I don't know if it's the manager, but what I know for sure is that this style we play wasn't the style we played before Jose. And when he came in, he brought that style. He ingrained that style. And the style isn't changing for some odd reason, you know? And this reminds me of a similar crisis that Chelsea has been going through. Lampard was at the wheel. Lampard was playing the same underperforming way. Lampard got the players he wanted. Lampard was backed. And Lampard was sacked because he wasn't doing good enough. And people couldn't hide and cover up anymore for what their club legend was doing. Now we have a Chelsea legend, Mourinho. Why are we covering up for him? He does something wrong, we just say it. We just say it. I know you like him. I know you think he's one of the most successful managers. He's one of the most successful managers. No one's going to take away his achievements. But what anyone's going to say watching us was no affiliation, no obsession, this unhealthy, weird obsession with Mourinho is going to tell you that he's holding us back. We have Kane, who's supposedly the best number 9 in the world, the best striker in the world. He's more complete than Lewandowski. Lewandowski does not create the way Kane creates. Lewandowski does not have the technical skills that Kane has, and yet we don't perform well. We have Gareth Bale, and we don't do anything. We have one of the best wingers in the Premier League, and we still don't do anything. We have Højbjerg, who we say is the best defensive midfielder, and against Arsenal, you've seen what he's done. We have Ndombele, one of the best, midfielders in the Premier League. He is getting comparisons with Pogba, and he's not good enough. We have Alderweireld, who's not good enough. So it's one of the two things. It's either our manager is not using our talents the way he should be, or it's either our players are all not good enough. We should sell 80, 90, maybe the whole team and rebuild. Okay? Whatever justification you have, at least be consistent about it, because there's so much inconsistency. Okay, we perform unconvincingly, and you guys, not you guys, some of you guys, give credit to Mourinho, and that's fine. Manager's tactics were successful, and he wins. We lose, we play bad. I don't see the blame. I see, oh, Doherty. Who plays Doherty? Who sees Doherty on a daily basis in the training pitch? Who's there up close with Doherty to measure and analyze his progression or regression or whatever he does in training? You're telling me you guys suddenly forgot how a manager is supposed to do his job? You guys are telling me you guys forgot what is the responsibility of a manager? I'm not joking. If this wasn't Jose Mourinho, if this was Rafa Benitez, if this was some other low level manager like Eddie Howe or some guy, he would have been already sacked. But it's just the brand and the prestige that the Jose comes with and the past that deludes people. It's like an illusion. It's like a cloak that covers up all his unsuccessful failures. I'm just saying, like, I think this guy's finished. And you guys have to admit it. The sooner the better, because this back and forth is not going to help anyone. Jose tried and he failed. And the sooner we accept this, the better. The less damaging it's going to be. The less our fan base is going to be split in half, because it's already splitting. And I've never seen such a toxic environment. You know, I'm not saying Jose's a shit manager. He's a great manager, but right now he's not it. He's not the right fit. He doesn't mesh. He doesn't mix. He doesn't blend well with our club, and it's just a bad mix. We sold our souls for the devil for just one Carabao Cup that we're not gonna win, probably. You know, was it worth it? Was it worth it day in and day out watching us win unconvincingly? And if we don't win unconvincingly, we lose convincingly. Is it worth it? Every week, getting up, putting on the match, getting excited, and only to be crushed by the sheer mediocrity of how we play. Is it worth it? Are you willing to stand and handle and stomach much more of this? We're all done. We're really done. A lot of us are done. You know, like if you like Jose, good for you, but you're not a fan to the club. You don't get to say who stays and who don't, because I know genuine fans of the club, fans that really care about how our club is doing, are not happy. Even if they're Jose in, even if they still want Jose, but their number one, number one support is to the club, not to the manager. They don't like it. They like Jose, but they don't like how we play. Let's not delude ourselves. Let's not waste our time or energy into all this useless back and forth. The people are sick, okay? You calling them reactionary, you calling them flip flop, it's not going to change anything. It's just you trying to cope, you trying to hold on to something that doesn't exist, which is Jose being a good manager in 2021. It doesn't exist. He was a good manager. Pele was a good player. You don't see me saying Pele could be our best striker in 2021. Same thing as me saying Jose was a good manager, but he has to go. He's not good enough anymore. He's not doing a good job. Now, it's not me being against Jose. If this was Pochettino, this was Nagelsmann, if this was Graham Potter, if this was any manager, insert any name you want, and they perform the same way Jose is actually performing, I would still be against it. The results matter, and the results aren't good. Okay, you guys could say, "Oh, this is just you being too dystopian. It's just you being too negative. We could easily be top four. We just need other clubs to not play well. We need this and that." It's fugazi. All this is fugazi, man. All this is just you making up shit. You just holding on to something. You're just begging, wishing for something to happen, some jinx, for us to suddenly shithouse ourselves into a top four, or shithouse ourselves into a Europa League final, or shithouse ourselves into the Carabao against Manchester City. We're gonna hit the wall. This Arsenal thing is not the last thing that's gonna bring us down. There's more. It's gonna be worse. And I hate to say this. I hate to say this, but it's gonna be worse. The way we play against a proper team is gonna be worse. I don't know what's gonna happen next, but it doesn't look good. Just one last thing. One last thing I have to say. We shouldn't sell our souls to a Chelsea legend. We shouldn't alienate other Spurs fans because they want what's best for their club. And sorry, what's best for the club, according to other fans, is not what you agree with. But they're Spurs fans, and at the end of the day, like, why defend the Chelsea legend? You know? That's all I have to say before I end this. So, you know, I'm gonna make another video in a few months, and this will come up again. And I said this in my fourth episode, third or fourth episode. I said in 12, 18 months, and that was like 2 months ago. I said in 12, 18 months, most people are gonna be Jose out. I'm not wrong then. It's gonna be worse. I I don't think we should sack him though. Like, let him continue the season. The season's almost over anyway, so let him have it. Why sack him now? It's pointless. But next season, something has to change. If he stays next season, you know the third season syndrome from Jose. I don't have to say it, so I'll leave you to it. Okay, take care, everyone. Have a lovely weekend and stay safe.